Gamers of Reddit, what gaming experience will you never forget and why? Riding into Mexico in Red Dead Redemption. The music comes in at its absolutely perfect. That was just such an incredible moment. Truly a beautiful emotional experience. Just simple and delicate, but I felt like I was really there for those few moments. I felt free. I married a man in Star Wars Galaxies and my town threw a huge wedding celebration for us. After the gifts and speeches, we went back to his place and I stole everything he owned. In actuality, I was a 13-year-old boy posing as a lady and my buddy was the wedding planner and convinced the town to make sure to bring gifts. He even got paid by the town. The entire thing was premeditated and we laughed for days and days non-stop. Learning the big secret of Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, about your main character for the first time. I didn't complete the game until way after it was released. I was really young when it came out and didn't even know what Star Wars was, but I never saw anything about it since it seemed like a forgotten game. I have to say, when the big reveal happened, I was shocked and excited. When I was around 4, I was playing Mario Kart on the SNES with my older brother who was around 7 years old. I was falling behind and he refused to wait for me to catch up. I got angry and bit him. I know it's weird, but it's just stuck in my memory. That was the first and last time I bit someone and it was over a video game. First time getting to Hyrule Field in Ocarina of Time. The kids today that grew up with 3D open world games have no idea just how mind-blowing it was when it was new. I'll follow up with walking into the forest temple for the first time. The atmosphere between the child and adult changes were completely different. The game wasn't holding your hand anymore, if it ever really was. That game in general is full of moments like those. The end of Portal 2, in particular the final portal you shoot. I'd waited until I finished my exams to play it, then basically stayed up all night to finish it. What an ending that was. Sadly, of course, it turned out to be the ending of the whole Half-Life Portal universe. Killing Paarthurnax. I still feel bad about it years later. Beating Halo 3 on Legendary with my brother's split screen on a small TV in our room. It took us weeks to get to the last level, and then it took us hours to get past the part where you drive the Warthog to the ship, where the ground keeps falling down. It was one of the best moments I've felt after beating a game. All gillied up, Call of Duty 4. 50,000 people used to live here. I remember holding my breath when the helicopter was getting closer to Macmillan. Last mission of Halo 3. Where the floor is collapsing and you're on the Warthog. I'll remember the feeling I had playing it for the first time with my friend in like 3rd grade forever. Such an epic mission. Just imagining the soundtrack from Halo 3 gives me nostalgia chills. Pianos intensify. When I grew up, we always had that sort of crappy computer which wasn't all bad, but installing a game was always kind of a jeopardy. It just might not work. So back in 2005, World of Warcraft had finally gotten traction and the news had begun reporting about the online sensation. People were discussing how big it actually was and the possibilities it offered. So at Christmas, I finally got it. I was overjoyed and couldn't wait to get home and plug it in. For those who doesn't remember, it had 5 or 6 discs, which meant 5 or 6 chances of something messing up for my PC. As far as I remember, it took about 8 hours to install, with me constantly leaping in the check on it and change CDs. But then, just around dinner time, it finally finished and the old screen of the giant portal appeared. The next year or so would be completely dedicated to that game, but I'll never forget that certain kind of curiosity and wonder that WoW brought me on that first encounter. Modern Warfare 2 was my introduction into online games. I had to beg my grandparents to get Wi-Fi for the house, so I could play with my friends. One school night it's like 3 in the morning and I'm playing Search and Destroy with my friends. We get put into a lobby with a whole clan and they start talking ungodly amounts of crap. Here I am in my undies, middle of the night and yelling all kinds of crap back at them. I just remember us winning and us rubbing it in their noses, while we watch as they all leave the lobby one by one. Beating co-op Portal 2 with 2 of my best friends. We spent forever laughing, messing with each other, trying to figure out puzzles that made us feel stupid for how long it took. Finishing it felt like a chapter in our lives came to a close. Never going to forget those moments. The first, and only, time I beat another human in a game of StarCraft 2 1v1, because I realized, hey, I outplayed this guy. I didn't have teammates who could carry or feed and neither did he. I just played better than him overall, and that's why I won. It felt great to know that I beat someone because I played the game better than them on an individual level, without having to factor anybody else into the equation. I mean, who the hell skanks sees that I have a bunch of tanks sieged up on the high ground with other units supporting them, and then tries to push up the ramp anyway? And then, a few games after that, I placed in Bronze 3. The first 20 minutes of The Last of Us. This freaking game gets you instantly invested in a few characters within a ridiculously short time. And then subsequently breaks your heart harder than any game ever broke it before. Also the first hour of God of War. The boss fight with the stranger is quite possibly the greatest thing I've ever experienced in a video game to date. Mass Effect 3 and Mordin Sacrifice. Had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong. May you always collect more seashells. The first time seeing the graphics and playing Super Mario 64. Surprised no one has said this but Batman Arkham Asylum, when the game seemingly starts over for no reason and you realize it's just a scarecrow vision. I was so confused then completely blown away. The quest in Fallout New Vegas where you have to find out who killed Boone's wife amongst the friendly townspeople. It was the perfect marriage of gameplay, well-written dialogue, killer pacing, top-notch characterization, gut-wrenching decision-making, all with a demon dark tone. This showed me the potential video games had in telling interactive stories with dire consequences, and this particular moment stood out amongst so many others in this incredible game. I used to play Shadow of the Colossus with my little brother watching and commenting besides me, and this is such a nice memory for me, especially now that we've grown apart and we don't see each other that much anymore. The sibling co-gamer during a gameplay session is one of the great things that makes gaming unique. First 99 in RuneScape. All those U trees taught me what grinding is. Those 99s start coming fast after the first. I got my first like a year or two ago on my 11-year-old account and now I have 5. Installing this thing called Steam so that I could play Half-Life 2 when it released at midnight. Played through the whole thing in a single 6-8 hours sitting. Loved every bit of the experience. Perfect game. We don't go to Ravenholm. First time killing Oryx in Destiny. King's Fall was such a massive, dark, beautiful raid, and blowing a giant alien god off the ship and spiraling into Saturn's orbit was just a rush that I remember feeling for a day or two. Great stuff. Miss that raid. Destiny's raids are some of the best content I have ever played. I only played Vault of Glass once during D1's prime time and it was amazing. Easily the coolest thing I did in the 2 years I played that game. I just beat Leviathan for the first time in Destiny 2 a few weeks back and it also takes the cake as the coolest thing I've done in that game, which is awesome because I know it is also widely considered not great when stacked against experiences like Last Wish. Not really so much a gamer anymore, but when I was a wee baby I had almost beat all of Super Mario World and my sister saved over it. I will never forgive you, Jessica. Ever. Getting my first, and only, nuke on MW2 multiplayer. I was in 5th grade at the time and I made this whole plan with where to camp run around at, to keep myself as safe as possible, along with using the heartbeat sensor to know when people were coming after me. I essentially sat at the enemy spawn for the entire match of domination, and when I ran out of ammo in my primary gun there was only 30 seconds left in the match so I ran out into the middle of the map. I started getting shot when I turned a corner and ran straight at the guy and knifed him. I immediately died after, but that one last kill was all I needed as I got the nuke and called it in. Skyrim. Easy. I was 11, and had been playing linear, fairly boring kids games up until that point. I had really lost interest in gaming as a whole. The amount of choice available to you in that game was mind-blowing to me. Walking into Whiterun the first time, I remember being very annoyed by that Talos worshipper guy who never shuts up. I did the logical thing and swung an axe at his head, and was freaking shocked when he actually died. Naturally, many killing rampages followed, but I'll never forget that first time. I had played WoW on and off, but got way into it when Wrath of the Lich King was released, as much as I could carrying a full course load at college. When Kata came out I was at the end of my degree and only taking a couple courses by distance to finish it off, while living at home. I would get up at 1 PM, eat breakfast and play until dinner. After dinner I would go to the gym, go to the library for an hour, then come back home and play until 4 AM. Someone on the outside looking in at my life might think it was a miserable existence, but I loved every minute of it. Sometimes at work I'll throw on the music from Kata or Wrath of the Lich King and smile. So excited to ruin my marriage when WoW Classic launches. Having like 20 people in my Minecraft server and everything going to crap once someone got flint and steel. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos and don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed it.